That's what happens.
Mm.
Welcome to Cousin Chat with Donna and Brad, two proud educators and HBCU grads. Here, we talk about what matters. And so today, we're talking about therapy, and we'll be exploring some reasons as to why some people don't go. One of the reasons I think some people don't go is because they just don't have the insurance. Maybe that's probably a big reason. They think that it won't be covered. I think some people might be apprehensive about talking to somebody they don't know about their problems. And I also think that a lot of it has to do with the culture. Like, I think our people, African Americans, like for a long time, were taught or raised to think, or with the idea that what goes on in this house stays in this house, or what happens in this family stays in this family, and they just don't feel comfortable telling people outside, what's going on with them. Or people just feel like, well, I can handle it, like whatever's going on with them, I can deal with it. I'm strong, I can, I've done it this long, I've made it this far, and I just think that, and maybe some people just don't believe in it. you know it maybe it worked for you, but you know what, I got this. What do you think? I mean, those,
You
those are
know,
just some reasons that I think some people don't go. Plus, and then I'll
yeah.
tell you why I just haven't, but why I think some people don't go ahead.
You touched on a really important point, and that being a cultural thing. I think that's really important in that, you know, uh, it's really never been until sort of recently. It's never been even sort of a go-to, even something in our thought process as an option when it comes to therapy. One, like you said, maybe they just don't know enough. They don't know enough about it. Again, it's also maybe just wasn't talked about in the household.
Mm-hmm.
If one did go to therapy, it was because they were, like having some serious issues to the point where it may have been affecting them, just as a productive citizen,
Yeah.
again, it's that fear, it's that unknown thing, it's the trust thing. I'm talking to this person who doesn't know me, and to add to that, a lot of the times, majority of your therapists were white, and so
Mm-hmm.
there was then that mistrust. I'm talking to this person who has been treating me as a race, been treating me a certain way. I'm not going to then reveal my deepest and darkest secrets to this individual. You know what I mean?
Right, fearing that they
Um,
might not understand
they
anyway where
wouldn't.
you're coming
It's
from.
and right, and that's just like educators, sometimes white educators going into predominantly black school environments and not really understanding the child, right? Not being able to relate to them. And I think sometimes that is important when it comes to to therapy too,
Right.
where that's just something you want to, like, I know when we start talking about it, I know that was important for me to have a therapist of color.
Mm-hmm.
you know and that's just, it's a personal thing. I'm not gonna say, as a whole, it's it's a cultural issue at times, but for some that's important.
Right. I
But
think also, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm so, no, 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 I was just trying to think of other reasons. Again, I think the cultural component is a very important. Now we could, I guess, look at reasons to go.
Well, I'll say, like, one of the reasons I have never been. Now I know that I probably should be sitting on somebody's chair or laying on somebody's couch, and probably should have been a long time ago. But I just keep thinking of the first visit and how awkward it would be. Like, I know everybody says that, well, you just have to be comfortable. All you have to do is just go and, like, check it out. You'll see. But I just feel like that first visit, because all I could just imagine is somebody, is just me sitting down, and then
Mhm.
somebody saying, okay, talk. Like I just figure, you know, in my mind, you know, because you see things on TV and it just looks awkward. And in my
Right.
mind, it's just awkward. And I
Yeah.
just could see myself just laughing. Like internally, of course, I wouldn't, you know, embarrass myself, but I could just see myself sitting there like, okay, who's going first? Like, because that's, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? And if they didn't say anything, like, it just would be awkward. And I just, that first visit, I'm like, okay, well, what's supposed to happen here? Because I don't know what to do. Are you going to talk? You know, like what? So just the thought of the first visit is like, I don't know, because, oh.
Well, speaking from experience, usually that first visit, yeah, there's a little anxiety, apprehension, but a skilled therapist, you know, the pretty much majority of that time is intake, meaning they're asking you specific questions, you know, on it's an intake form. So they're asking you specific questions just about your background, you know, family history, those kind of things. And, you know, they'll ask you the question and you can be very general or you can be very specific. They ask you a question like, you know, what brings you in? Like, why'd you choose now to sort of come and want to talk? And that's the thing. And again, sometimes you can say, you know what, I don't know. I just feel that, you know, I've been moved to, you know, talk to someone, those kind of things. And again, there's no judgment. It's sort of, because what you're doing, not only what you are doing is sort of, you're about to establish a relationship. And so it's one where you have to be comfortable and you get, you know, you're a good judge of people and energy and stuff like that, I think. So once when you go in there, you'll know that this is somebody I think I can, you know, share with.
Yeah, I definitely would.
Right. And then, you know, if you don't feel that, you know, if you don't feel that immediately.
To laugh at myself. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. You know, and also understand, you know, what we as, what we also have to understand is it's not an overnight solution. Okay. Just like, and we were talking about this sort of in the prep, you know, I was saying that I think also as a people, you know, those who may have issues with therapy is to sort of change the mindset, right? Change it from, you know, this is something that I have to go to because I'm forced to go to, or that, you know, that my doctor's recommending, those kind of things. Instead of looking at it as such a negative thing, look at it as though it's a part of your whole self-care regimen, right? Those people, some people like to go to the spa. That's, you know, that's therapy, but that's physical therapy, you know? So you want to not only, when you talk about self-care, not only are you, or not only should you take care of your physical self, but you need to take care of your mental self. And that should be now put under the category of self-care.
So now when you are filling out the form, basically before you even sit down in front of somebody, you're saying you fill out a form and it's just a basic questionnaire, you know, and then see the question that would get me is what brings you here? Like, I don't, like, I just, so you could just say, well, I just have never been and wanted to. You can't just say I wanted to check it out. Like, what do you know?
Yeah, yes, you definitely could. Again, Donna, there's no right answer. There's no right answer because everyone is different. Everyone's reason for going to therapy is different, right? And sometimes not sometimes, a lot of times you really don't, you might not know specifically the reason why you're there, but you're inclined to go, you know. And then what's great is as you are building that relationship with your therapist, and then you know, and it's not all about where they're sitting and that whole vision of the therapist sitting in a chair and writing notes and you're laying on the couch and all you're doing is talking. That, I mean, yeah, sometimes you're on a couch. Sometimes it depends on the kind of seating. They want it to be comfortable. Usually the lights are a little dim. I mean, it's not like totally dark, but it's again, it's about creating a safe space. It's not clinical at all. Okay, you're not like in a sterile environment. And sometimes they are taking notes, but they're asking you specific questions. You're not talking from the beginning to the end. Most of the time, there's different things that they're asking you, and then as you're talking, then they might pull something from what you just said because it's important, and then they'll go from there. You know what I mean? And so before you realize it, you are like coming to realizations about certain things, because what is great also is I don't look at it like I'm talking to this stranger who knows nothing about me. Okay. And won't be able to understand what I'm dealing with. It's more so this is a subjective third party who I'm talking to about certain things that are going on with me. That means their view might be something that I can benefit from, because again, they're an outsider looking in, right? Because I'm talking, you know what I mean? So it's that's how I look at it. I look at it that way, and not that this unknown person who knows nothing about me. Now, the other thing, going back to a cultural thing, for me, when I was doing a search, I Googled, I wanted Black male therapists. You know what I mean? So, and it's very specific, and and then you want to get. It depends. It depends on if you want to go, because there's so many now online that, especially with our current condition, our current situation, that you can have Zoom therapy sessions, which I do now. I have Zoom therapy sessions. Okay. And so just like this, we're talking now. This is what you do.
Yeah.
I
might, because
the
thing is, as soon as they say, okay, so tell me about your childhood, like, see, that's when I'm gonna be like, okay, well, it was good. Like, that's the type of open question that I would be stuck with. But at least now I know, okay, you're telling me there's a questionnaire, there's some kind of lead in that they would have, like, because if you ask me an open question like that, and I'm like, okay, well, where is this supposed to go? Like, am I leading it? Are you leading it? Like, because I don't know, like, how, so just the unknowns have kept me from, you know what I mean?
Right. And also, I think one of the reasons people sometimes fail to go is almost like a vein for vanity's sake. You know what I mean? Just the because
stigma attached.
The stigma that really, there shouldn't be a stigma attached, but there's
because most people are going now. So it's really not that much of a stigma attached now, like to these days. It's almost like
and more.
You've never been to therapy? Like now, it's almost like
exactly.
There's a stigma if you haven't been. But years ago,
right.
It was a little different.
Especially peeps of color who are really being more vocal, especially social media,
which is a good thing, because
I'm saying it's definitely a good thing.
To go and be open about going, because this conversation here, I feel actually better about going. I have close friends, actually. Well, let me.
Yeah, you have friends who go, that. Of course.
But it's not a bad thing. Like it's actually a good thing. I've been open to it. It's not even like I've even said I'm never going or I don't want to go. It's just been the unknowns, like, or the, oh no, I'm good, or I'm okay, or, but people around you know when you probably need a checkup, you know what I'm saying? Or a tune-up, or even when they think that it would be beneficial for you, because I've experienced some losses, like, and it could not have hurt to just go talk to someone.
Right. And this, and I want to just add to that. Also understand that therapy comes in so many different ways, right?
Yeah.
So just what you were saying, it's not always where I'm going and having a session with a therapist. Don't it? There are, just where you're talking about dealing with loss, right? There are all these different groups that are specific, right? So then but that's also a form of therapy because you're dealing with grief, right? So you have your grief groups. You know, there's AA, there's NA, there's all those different organizations where that I look at as a form of therapy, and that also, you know, individuals should be aware of. So, you know, again, don't let the reason of, oh, I can't afford it, as you know, the reason being for you not going. You
Yeah,
know,
for anybody, or insurance,
for anybody,
or I don't
for
have
insurance, because
time,
now,
you know,
well, and the thing
especially
is,
time. Look, because
yeah, and the
mental
thing
health
is,
is
well,
is
and just
important.
it's vital.
Anything
It's
you can
vital.
do
It's
to maintain it,
yeah.
you know, and I think a lot of, you know, and I'll include myself, you know, we strong women, you know, we can
Mm-hmm.
handle it, we can
Yeah.
push through, you
Yeah.
know, we can
Yeah.
do it all, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, we need a little tune up, you know,
But
we need
well, again, you
maintenance,
just
we need to check on ourselves sometimes.
well, and the thing is this too, especially, yes, women, especially Black women, because they have always, unfortunately, had to carry the you know, the load for forever, and you know, you don't realize the damage that does to one's body, not just physically, but
Yeah.
also mentally, you know. And hey, some of us, D, we are that close to, you know, losing it, right? And having that daily maintenance, that daily tune-up, is a way for you to address those issues, to let it go, and to keep moving, you know. And that's how I look at it. It's just, you know, and it's always not just about, because it's not always just about, hey, I have a chemical imbalance, or I have this, I have that, and I need to go to a therapist. Because most of the time the therapist is not giving you meds. I mean,
Right.
and sometimes you do need that. Sometimes you might need an anti-anxiety for pill. Sometimes you do need, you know, to take antidepressant pills. But don't let that be the only therapy that you're giving yourself, because that's not always the solution.
Because
You
sometimes
know,
even as teachers, we take mental health days, like every now and then. Like,
right?
well,
Exactly.
actually, I really don't take off a lot. Because see, to me, I like being like that's a stress reliever for me. Like being with the kid, like teaching and stuff. But see, now,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
about what's ahead. That is,
Yeah.
I am already pre-stressed. Okay,
Yeah.
and it hasn't even begun yet. So
Exactly.
I already need to get into some kind of zone where
Yeah.
I can just de-stress before I even get stressed, whatever that looks like. I don't even know what that looks like yet. I probably have to get with you on some yoga positions or something, because
we'll talk about different little quick things that can be done. One other point I wanted to make was, sometimes I think, and again, this is changing, but as a culture, I think also sometimes we rely too heavily on religion to solve all of the problems, like, you know, whether there's some mental issues and all that, you know, we pray on it, God's got it, and sort of we keep on trucking. But that, you know, I look at it like, hey, you can still be religious and also go see therapy. That having that other individual who is helping you deal with issues is not going to interfere with your relationship with God.
no, it won't.
know,
And true
it
believers know
won't.
that. Like, I know,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
know where I
Yeah.
am every Sunday. You
Well,
know
of
what I mean?
course,
Like,
yeah, right.
so
But
I
I'm just
know.
saying, right,
Yeah, but a lot of
right.
people do. Like, even
Some
sometimes
people
people
have
will
that,
stop taking medication
right,
because they,
right,
you know, and everybody
yeah,
to each his her own.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
the
and
reason I
you're,
brought it up,
you
was the reason I brought it up was, you know, when they were first mandating that masks be worn out in public, and then some of those individuals are like, God's got me, I'm good. They were not wearing the mask because they said God's got them.
And
You know
some
what I
of
mean? So
them
that,
God truly does have right now. Yes,
see,
they're in his
exactly.
hands.
Right, right.
And
So,
no disrespect, but
yeah,
you can have both faith and therapists,
you definitely can. You definitely can.
and you could definitely have both. You just
Hmm.
have to you just have to, to do your research.
Hmm.
I would say
Hmm.
definitely just like you would do anything else.
Yeah,
Before you go to a restaurant, some people, look, see what the ratings are, what's on the
yeah.
menu, check that out.
Hmm.
So if you're thinking about
Yeah,
going to a therapist, I would do the same thing. Do your
yeah.
research. See where
And
they are.
you'll be surprised. Like, I mean, again, when you're doing your research and you're being very specific, I want a Black female therapist in this area who is an AKA or a Delta. You know what I mean? Like, you can break it down and you're going to get results. So then that's only going to benefit you when it comes to your comfortability with that individual. If those are things that if those are specific things that you are looking for, so you feel that you can have a closer relationship, you know?
Exactly. So, Brad, I think this is a very beneficial chat for a lot of people. And it's, even for myself, I have heard a
Hmm.
lot of great information. So I'm surprised we never talked about it, like even just the two of
Yeah,
us.
just the two
But
of us. Well, we do, but not just as one whole combo like this. But
no.
I do want to just offer a couple of different little tips, little quick things if one individual or if people are feeling stressed and they really need to they need to release immediately. You know, you have the old standby is where you count to 10 before you respond. If it feels like it's a heated thing, a heated situation, or you feel that there's an argument coming along. I think also, I do if I feel some stress or some anxiety coming on, I do the breathe. There's the breathing exercises where you can do the quick breaths where you do about anywhere from about 15 to 20 seconds where you just, but you're using your abdomen when you're breathing. And you do that for about 15 seconds, you stop, you can do that again. There's the one where you're inhaling, a deep inhale, you count to 10, and then as you exhale, you're smiling, which is sort of hard to do, but it also just helps you then focus on the smiling as opposed to the negative. And when you smile, certain endorphins are released. Okay, so that also helps you change your mood. Okay, those are just some quick things. Again, if you need a quick just release, there's binaural beats. You can listen to those, and they're all on YouTube. Any kind of music app, actually, SoundCloud, binaural beats. There are certain wavelengths that are played in the different music, which helps regulate certain levels in your brain waves, helps you sleep, helps you begin to think more clearly, those kind of things too. So you can do it, you can have it on at night. I'll have it on as a teacher, I'll have it on in class, especially when they're taking tests, those kind of things. And just, it's sort of become my background noise in the class if I'm not giving a lecture,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate everybody for hanging with us today, and we really hope you got
Mhm.
something from our chat. Before we go, Brad, why don't you let them know how they can keep in touch with us, especially how they can find our podcast when they come out, and that's every Friday morning, guys,
At what time?
7
What time?
a.m.
7 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, Dee. Thanks. So yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also you can see all our full podcasts on our website, cousinchat.com.
Yeah. And so, today's takeaway is simply just, I guess, as I have learned today from my cousin, just as you have, we could think of going to therapy as kind of like getting a tune-up. We get our cars checked periodically, I guess on a regular basis. We could think of are, going to therapy is getting a tune-up. Um, if we go once, which I am going to try it out, I'll commit to that. Try it once and just see how it goes. And even if we don't like it with that particular therapist, I would say don't give up on the idea of going to therapy. Maybe it was just that particular experience with that particular therapist. Give it maybe another 6 months or however, whatever amount of time. And then maybe just try it again. Maybe another therapist, do a little bit more research, maybe a suggestion from a friend or someone who's already going. But just don't give up on it. And just as Brad said, consider it, self-care. We like our massages. Some people, just like you go and get your nails done, or if you get a pedicure, physical self-care. Think of it like,
Massage. Yep.
yeah, think of it like a tune-up or self-care for your mental health. And I think that that is a good takeaway for today. Okay? So, till we come back, think about that. I'm Donna,
And I'm Brad.
and this is Cousin
Cousin Chat.
Chat. All right. Bye.
Deuces.